Gary, what was it that ultimately saw that game slip away from you today?
Exactly that, Ian. I think we let the game not slip away from us, but we let the game pass us by, really. I felt we had the elements played a big and huge part today. Probably didn't affect it as much as I thought it might. It didn't ruin it as much as I thought it would. But we have our opportunity in the first half, really. We keep them penned in first half quite a lot. We hit the post from Dan Ellison, and we have a number of other good opportunities to probably really smell some blood, for want of better words, and I don't think that we showed enough intent in our play in the first half to really go and say, actually, look, there's a game of football to be won here. And then we didn't show that urgency until we went a goal down, and that's been, if any game summed up our season this year, it's that one today. You know, Hemel they're in the playoffs, and up until today they'd only scored one goal more than us. Yet they're in the playoffs. So it shows you the value of keeping clean sheets. And again, we haven't done that, but there's so much pressure on us to do that when you don't take your opportunities. And I feel, like I said, look, we let the game slip away. We were in the ascendancy first half. We had some really good moments in the second half. We had a really good opportunity with Sol, and I think I'd have to watch it back, but he can maybe square it and we score. But look, sorry to repeat myself, but we didn't. We let the game slip away. We didn't show the intensity and intent right from the off, or we didn't prolong it for long enough in periods of the game. And the same thing happens. We concede from one set piece, and then it's 1-0 and the game's gone.
So if they're not showing that intensity, is that a mental thing? Is that a tactical thing? Why did you not see that, do you think, today?
Well, I don't think tactics affect mentality or intent or urgency, so it's definitely not a tactical thing. Look, we've talked about it in there. We've talked about mentality an awful lot this year. I get we have some sort of younger players as such, so we don't have a squad like Hemel. If I take them, for instance, today, that they did everything. They did I'm going to say a number. They were better than that. But if you watch that game, there's nothing between the two sides. I think we have more chances in the game than they do. Look, I think it's they've, at times it's a maturity thing, but ultimately, look, it's down to individuals and mentality and developing a ruthlessness, and we can try and give that to them to an extent, but it's not something that we can give them from a tactics point of view to help out. They've got to realise that games will, like I say, will pass you by, and when you have your moments in games, you have to feel that. You have to smell it and breathe it within a game to know, actually, look, we're on top here. And I think you have to show more intent in those moments. And there's at times when we're attacking the box, we don't attack it with the right level of intent. I think we know we should be in the box, but we don't really, as I say, attack it with the urgency that I would expect, or certainly I would want myself if I was looking to get myself a goal, or like I say, we need to win games of football. And like I said, I think we're lacking that. So I think it's a mentality thing that we need to work on and help them work on that with them. Whether or not we need to develop, without getting too deep into it, some mental frameworks to keep them honest and keep them at it in games, then maybe we do. Maybe we need to look into it a bit further. But again, I'm not saying it's difficult because of the touch times we have with them. Look, but to answer the question, look, it's definitely individuals who need to, like I say, not let games pass them by and recognise with intent and attention to detail that they need to keep them focused throughout the whole game.
I know you've said to us many times this season, and I think rightly so on many occasions, that the performances haven't always got the results that you should have got, that you deserved in those games. It is a results business. How concerned are you now? 1 win in 10, one off the bottom. How confident are you that it is going to change soon, hopefully?
Oh, well, look, I've just said in there that most times it's a cliche, but people say look at the game, the league table after 10 games, and we are where we are. If you're asking me, am I worried? I'm not worried about us as a group, that we've been in the bottom 4 in February before, and managed to get things right, improve, add quality, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe I've given some opportunities that have lasted longer than needs be, but I don't believe that at all. I believe we've got more than enough in the change room there, absolutely. So it's down to me to. Down to us, the coaching staff as a collective, to drag even more out of them, because like I said, anybody who's watched that game today knows that that's if you had to pick who was in the bottom four and who wasn't, I don't think you absolutely can tell the difference. So there's not much in it. Again, it's a game that we've lost on a moment. We have more than enough moments to win the game. So look, I'm not worried in that respect. Does it give me sleepless nights to try and win games? Of course it does. Does it consume me and us, and do we work really hard at trying to get things better? Yes. But we can only do that as a collective, and look, that's down to me to, like I say, ultimately, without getting into those more cliches, the buck stops with me. So look, we have to work out how we do that. But yeah, look, we're in the the early part of the season still. Really, there'll be another 40 games left for us to play this year. We get to rest. I say rest. We get to focus on something else next week, and maybe that's the key. Another thing I've just spoke about in there is the games that I've said to them that they need to go and win this year. Because for me, there are no absolute must win games. But we want to win football matches, and when I've said to them, you have to win today in the FA Cup, they go out and do that. I said to them earlier in the season, we needed to get a win on the board at Worthing at home, and we did. So look, maybe my messaging needs to change. But yeah, look, ultimately, look, we'll continue to work as hard as we can. But right now, look, my focus is on next Saturday. And then it will be on the Saturday after that, because we'll take each game as it comes, and like I say, maybe that's part of the mentality piece that I need to work with.
Okay, thank you. Cheers. Thank you.